boys are so back to talk about episodes 10 through 12 of Andor season number 2. Let's get started. You know, looking at those scenes and not changing them and then seeing where we have gotten to is kind of crazy.
It's only been a month.
Right.
That's what's insane about it.
The timing is unbelievable, and we're back spending time with you 9:15 on 5/19. No Andor tomorrow. Very sad times. But I think we have agreed that we're going to watch Rogue One and do a bonus episode, I think maybe next week about it.
And
so stay tuned for that, and definitely stay tuned for the Ender, because I did create something that will send us off into the sunset, as they would say. Welcome to ESW. I am Sean. We've got Mike. We've got Damien. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight with you tonight. And let's get started immediately, because we got a lot to talk about. We've been going hour 25. We have no time for banter, but we do have time for some headlines. Just pick the scab. That was a bad idea. Oh my god.
Terrible idea.
Need some Bacta immediately. Do you know anybody who knows anybody at a hospital by any chance? Holy moly.
I knew the head guy, but he's not doing so hot right now.
The hype was lived up to, the expectations were shattered. It's really wonderful to just sit back and know that Star Wars is in good hands with the Gilroys. It's an unbelievable feeling. It's like knowing your team's going to win the championship before they even play in the playoffs. As a Flyers fan, I don't know what that means, but as you know, somebody who can appreciate hard work and what gets put into production, I just felt like every second was wrapped up in care. And can't wait to talk about these 3 episodes. Mike, what do you think?
Is this how it felt? Like, obviously, the 3 of us were not alive when this happened. Is this how it felt when the original trilogy came out? Where I was like, I can't wait for more, kind of a thing?
I don't think there was a sequel planned. That's how wild that theory is for you. I think I'm sure he wrote episode 5. Well, he wrote something. And was like, we'll see what this $7 million film can do, right? Or however much. And then he had to write a sequel, I think. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where he got help, right? He hired a writer, to actually help him with the story, because I think his first draft didn't go over well with the audience or something like that. I don't know, George. It was just his birthday, by the way, like 4 days ago. The maker himself, but
happy birthday, George.
I don't know. Great question. Back in the day when people went to the movies, were they already anticipating sequels? Like, was it like, what's the thought process there?
Yeah, like, and how does the news trickle out too? You know, like, it's not like now where we get a teaser before a teaser. Like, you have to read in the paper or like word of mouth from somebody that, oh yeah, you know that Star Wars movie? They're gonna make another one.
What? Even radio,
yeah. And just the idea of the blockbuster. There's great documentaries on Disney Plus about the whole thing, but the blockbuster was the idea that people were busting down the blocks to see the film, and they had to continue adding shows, right? And it was like the longest in months and months and months and whatever. So I would say no, to answer your question. I don't think they would anticipate a sequel at all. I think they were just going to the movies, and then they would go home and look at the wall, because there was no smartphones or TV or anything like that. That was
what I mean is, like, after A New Hope, like, everybody loves it, right? And then, the sequel's coming out, and then it actually lives up to the expectation. Like, That is how I felt with this.
Wow.
Like I haven't had this feeling with any sort of sequel or just Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
In a long time.
No sophomore slump in season 2 of Andor.
No.
Not at all.
And it makes me sad that it's done.
Yeah.
We don't get any more.
Totally agree. Dame, what's your temperature check here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like this is like 7, 8, and 9. I know we're talking about 10, 11, 12, but like you could put these together each week together as its own movie, and it would be like it would probably stack up with everyone's tops of Star Wars movies. I mean, it's crazy because like you look at like the Acolyte and people are laughing, and you look at Rey and people are laughing about having like a strong female lead character. Every female in this show was written so well, and I don't see anyone complaining about it. And that's what happens when you put care and time and explanation and stuff that makes sense into the characters. Like just the writing for every single character, even Dedra, like she's just a despicable person. I still kind of felt a little bad for her,
100%.
and that's just because of the writing. Like it's so good, and it's peak Star Wars, as the kids would say, for me.
She's a despicable person who just wanted to do her job and ended up getting punished for trying to do her job,
right?
and overstepping boundaries to do her job,
right?
She had a flash drive she shouldn't have had, and that just happens sometimes. There's she did not sign the NDA.
Who among us has never had a flash drive that they should not have opened?
I am privy to a lot of information at my school that I have to ignore and let that roll. But yes, great feedback there, great vibes. Oh man, we've got a lot to talk about, and really it's like you're running in place and then you're just sprinting, and that's how it felt for episodes like 10, 11, and 12. And before we get into the tops, I gotta say, I was not anticipating 10 to be my favorite of the 3 episodes. 11 and 12 are beautiful as they ride and transition into Rogue One, but episode 10 pounded me in terms of its emotional damage, and that was true emotional damage. Like, imagine, I mean, what a backstory, and I got a lot to say when it comes down to it. So let's get right into it. Let's sound the alarm as we get into our top moments of this 3-episode arc. So we open up.
Those horns are only fitting now because it's the end of Andor.
I know. Perfectly not changing any of the assets due to laziness and ISB interference.
Comms are down, but not at the opening of the episode 10, where we have this emergency beeping, and a lot of people online are like, "Oh, the customers are going to hear this beeping." It's like, no, they're not. And you have like Leia coming out, and you already feel like something's not right, like, and it immediately cuts to Lonnie, right? And just the way they frame everything, like there's nothing said on screen, words-wise, but you can make sense of what's happening right now. And just like to start off, the whole, like it's because of Lonnie, and it's because of Dedra. If you think about it, it's Dedra caused episodes 4, 5, and 6 to happen, but it's Lonnie's persistence, and like he said, what did he say? I had to make a decision. I had a window, and I had to make a decision, and now I'm burned, and now I want safety. And then just the whole interaction between him and Luthen going back and forth, like, oh, we're bargaining now? Now we are? Like, everything about it's great. They're in public. They're in the middle of nowhere, and both of them are going to be burned, for this. And you can just tell, like, now we're like teetering on the edge of a cliff, and someone's going to jump first. And who is it? Who is upset with Lonnie getting offed? Did you expect that? Do you think he was? I didn't think he was getting away with it. Oh yeah, I knew he was. I felt like he was going to. Yeah, I knew Lonnie was going to make it.
Once Luthen said like Yavin and mentioned and name dropped it where the safe place was going to be, I was like, oh yeah, Lonnie's not going to make it there.
Yeah.
He's done. He is done. I felt bad for him because I think he even knew it was coming, but he had to break this news to Luthen and just kind of get the ball rolling on stuff. So yeah, I was bummed that he got, but kind of saw it coming too.
Yeah, so
It was Luthen, right?
I would imagine so.
Like similar to like Tivik, and I'm sorry, we're skipping ahead to next episode. Like similar to Cass and Tivik.
I'm wondering if that's part of their protocols. Like, no loose ends. Sorry.
Yeah,
like, it is what it is.
Like, don't. I can't trust you. Can't get you anywhere right now. The faster. What was it? The faster the.
There's fast and good, or there's
the good way, or
yeah. He said there's fast and there's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And fast was,
and we're out of time, and that's just what it is. 100%.
Do you think he honored like his word though to protect his family?
Great question. Well, he's dead, so I don't think so. But
well, I mean, Luthen.
No, they were already held up in a safe spot, right? Like nobody else knew where they were.
My guess is they're in a safe house.
Yeah.
Okay.
But was it of Lonnie's doing or of Luthen's doing? Sounds like it was of Lonnie's doing. But what happens to them? Good question. Love that question. We get the big. We get Dedra as the most carefree person entering the gallery, and you already knew it. Freaking ring doorbell, and God, I hated it so much every single time it went off. And you're like, oh boy, she knows, he knows, but he's gonna try. And he goes into his little act, and it's great. Yeah. And then it just changes, right? She puts the Star Path unit down, and you're like, "Yep, this is it. This is it." Yep. And just that, there's a whole galaxy out there waiting to disgust you. It's great. Everything about that scene is great. What did you see from that scene, friends?
I love the line where she's like, "Is everything real?" And he's like, "Well, everything here, but two things." Obviously, referring to himself and her. Sorry.
It's fine.
I love
Dude,
that.
I didn't even pick up on that connection. Let me tell you. So that's a good one for me to just learn.
And the just the fact that like her and Cyril basically kind of mirrored each other. Like they finally got to their white whale, like this person that they're chasing, and they feel like they got the upper hand. Cyril has the gun pointed. She's ready to bring him in with no troopers or officers, just herself. Which was a big mistake. And then everything just collapses right in front of her. And as the second he stabs himself, like she knows, oh shit, like this is
Dedra has ordered a raid and it has gone badly.
But it was just such a good scene and a really good payoff. And of course, like the performances, just like everything else on the show, like are solid from both actors.
Yeah, even the playful banter in the beginning of it that both of them do with like smiles on their faces. It's just perfectly executed scene.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Yeah. Very much like Taken, like, oh, how do you say this in your language? And then it's like, you don't remember me.
Yeah.
It was perfectly executed.
You could tell she was getting to the unhinged part though.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
She's just like, she wants the gotcha moment, and it was too late. And that's everything about what he's it's like. I literally wrote Dedra is off her rocker right now. I need medic. We need to keep him alive. It's nuts. Oh my god, it's awesome. All right, Mikey, yours was stolen, so let's go to you, buddy.
I'm just gonna say in general, Clea. Just everything Clea. So with Clea, in just talking about her, I read an interview that this is her first major acting role.
I read that too.
Out of acting school. She's had like minor like shorts here and there. I think a TV role here and there. But she was talking about how she did the test read with, I guess, everybody with Star Wars and Gilroy and all them. They invited her back, and it was the second time back was with Skarsgård. And they said, the only note we have is be less nervous.
Yeah.
And apparently she killed it. And I feel like in general, the show is just all about these arcs that these character arcs that go from low to high to low, bad. Like they're like, I'm thinking of Cyril. I'm thinking of Dedra. All the show's called Andor, but all these side characters have these amazing arcs that make the show great. And specifically in these 3 episodes, so going from 10 to 11, even 12, Clay was great. So you have the entire backstory that's going along with Luthen and with Clea, how they come to meet. Then it cuts back and forth between her solo breaking into like Metal Gear Solid style, breaking into this hospital and going up to the 19th floor. She walks in with the fake bandage, perfectly acting it out. She throws that down, sneaks into the quarters, has her little really cool pick thing.
Yeah.
Steals some nurse stuff. Then just takes an old ass alien.
E.T.'s mom.
Yeah, just takes E.T.'s mom. It's like, eh?
I wrote that was great comic relief.
It was
very tense.
Yes.
She's like, "What? What did you say?"
When you guys watch, because you watch with closed caption, you guys like turned me on to that.
Scatting.
When Granny scatting was
Granny
the
scatting.
best thing ever. I was dying. She's the scat gran. Skibbity-bidi-dope.
But
I want to go back to the flashbacks, Mike, just because
So good.
I like turned them up, and if you just listen to the audio backing, it sounds awful, like worse than Gorman is going down right now. You can't see anything, so you have to use your imagination brain, and it just sounds like slaughter was happening, but we do not know why it was happening.
And like even title of the episode, Luthen, make it stop.
Yep.
Like you know some terrible shit's happening. But even the blocking with Clea, like having that little iPad thing, the screen, like, oh, look at this, hiding the gun behind the eye. Like the blocking was perfect. The
ISB thought there were 3 people. Think about that.
Yeah.
And it was
crazy.
just a 5'3" woman.
Yeah.
Just killing it. The correlation between the restaurant scene with the explosions and then the cars, the little speeders, whatever they were, exploding in the hospital, and ending with her having to pull the plug essentially on Luthen.
Yeah.
With a single tear.
And a little kiss to the forehead.
And the little kiss to the forehead. Clea, like, I feel like her character in season 2 just got stronger as the season went on.
Yeah.
And Dame, to your point, like, oh, you can't have a well-written woman in Star Wars. Every single woman in this Star Wars story, perfectly written.
We pegged her as very strong in season 1. A lot of screen time, but it's a good point to make that she may have been the Axis all along.
Yeah, she was the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
That's what Clea always was. I was like, oh, look at her cool hair and behind the curtain.
I think that's why Luthen sort of said, I'll do the burn. It's not my fight anymore.
Yeah.
You know, that's sort of passing on the torch there.
I don't know how, but I would just love to see more of her or just more of these characters somehow. Like, I know that they kind of put a bow on everyone's story, but you could still have Clea go out there and do more awesome shit. Like, she can go out there and just be a total badass and do all kinds of stuff. And just with how well written she was, I think she really grew into the role too in season 2.
Yeah.
Like, you can kind of tell that when you're watching any show. Like, first season, they're kind of ironing out the wrinkles. Then they really, really get into it as they get more time spent with the character that they're portraying. I just thought that was the case with her for sure in season 2.
Yeah.
I always have the theory, and I talked to Marissa about this. I'm like, are they a good actor, or do they just have an accent and we can't tell?
The accent helps for sure.
It
If I was
does,
reading
like,
some of those lines, even with like a Juilliard degree, it probably
uh,
wouldn't be anywhere near as good.
but in this case, I think she's just a really great
For
actress.
sure.
Well, again, when you suspend the disbelief, right? You immediately want to jump in and be friends with the character. That says a lot. I really loved how they weave the flashbacks. It wasn't very consistent. It would be like
Mm-mm.
a few seconds here, and then it would cut back, and you're like, you know. And so the editing in this episode was really neat. Really loved the part where, you know, Luthen goes, "Let's go, let's go." This is like early on, right? And he's like, "All right, you're on your own. See ya. Like you're
Yep.
4. I'm out of here." But like for whatever reason, she needed to see the slaughter. She
Mhm.
needed to see it. It was something like that. She needed to power that anger. And then you just have the nice little connection between when I tell you to move, you move. And early on in the episode, he says, move. And she
Mhm.
has that little smile on her face. Like, that's like a super
Oh,
important
I
thing.
didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Yeah. If you watch it back, you
Yeah.
know,
No,
he's
and
like,
then now I'm remembering.
I'm going to do
it
the
now.
burn. You're going to do the thing. We're going to meet at the stairs. And then she's like, no. And he's just like, yes, move. Right. And that tied it back for me on the second watch. And I was like, God damn this show. This is good. This is good stuff. Hey, shout out to Clea for taking out soldiers in jellies. Unbelievable athleticism for what she's doing, going up and down the steps. And this is a restricted area. No, it's not. Bang. See you later. Loved it. Yeah, I just felt like this is why number 10 really hit me, because I just thought it was the most heartbreaking episode we've seen.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you know, we talked about like all the adult things that Andor's dealt with, like sexual assault, suicide. Like her pulling the plug on Luthen. Like I've had 2
Jeez.
grandparents on hospice. Like it's a very real thing that people go
Yeah.
through. Um, so I think that that just endeared her even more to me, like being in
Yeah.
her shoes with a similar situation, and like just the show not being afraid to shy away from something like that.
Mhm.
You know, it's just so well done. So well done.
Yeah, the plunger apparatus had to be stopped. You just see the numbers go down. They don't make any sense, but we get it. We
Right.
all understand. And as quickly as she was there, she was gone. Like a ghost in the night. For sure. Almost like Fulcrum. Okay. Moving on. I would imagine there's not much left in episode 10 to be topped. It was really just Clea and all the things Clea did.
Yeah. That was
Outside of
Clay.
Luthen and Dedra, you know, and the little interactions, and then Luthen and Lonnie. I mean, that's the 3 major plot points right there. But just when we're heating up into episode 10, it ends. And now we get like, okay, well, Clay is on the run. What happens next? And of course, we got, like you said, no main characters in our story that just yet. I actually love that they spend so much time with Luthen, because I felt like we got cheated of him a lot in
For sure.
season 2.
Yeah.
So this was a great bookend to his journey. And I'm sure you've noticed Sergeant Rail, Sergeant Lear, right?
Yep.
Backwards and all that good stuff. How about Krennic and Dedra? How about it?
I thought he hurt her.
Yes.
I like that legit looked like that wasn't acting. That hurt.
It was either like he could have sprained his finger from how hard he pushed down on top of her head, and the genuine like fear on her face when he did that, which we've discussed in like our chat. You know, that was improvised. It was just like such a weird way of like asserting dominance over somebody and striking fear into them, but it was so good.
Do you think I would be here to ask you simple questions? Who else knows? Say it. Oh my god, how about she had 2 years of intel? What are you doing, Dedra?
Right.
She got in her own way. That's crazy.
She's going Rogue One.
Truth. I like that Krennic says, if you're not a rebel spy, you've missed your calling. Great line. And then, you know, Dedra, she's trying to like get herself out of it. You know, I would do this, and like grabs her, puts her down. we'll do our best to carry on without you.
He
Show's crazy.
he was fantastic in this series because I feel like he didn't have a lot of screen time in Rogue One,
Hmm.
and like you didn't really get his true evilness. But
He's
like
a little bitch in Rogue One.
he is a little bitch in Rogue One.
For sure.
Like Tarkin makes him his little
Tarkin
bitch.
slaps his ass real fast.
Yeah.
And puts him in
And
his
then Vader
place.
chokes his ass, and then
Yeah. And
Death Star
even-
blows his ass up.
his own weapon. We'll get into that next week.
Can't wait. I can't wait to get into it. It's great.
But
the
even
journey
with-
of Krennic, it's literally 7, 8, 9. You know, everybody's eating each other from the bottom to the top. It's unbelievable.
But even with Dedra being interrogated, this is the first time you've really seen her like nervous.
Yeah.
And like in her oh shit moment, I messed up.
Yeah.
And I like that scene a lot too, because like from what we saw with Krennic and Andor, he was like kind of like charismatic and very confident and composed. And like this is where he's just kind of unhinged and almost leads right into what we'll talk about next week, but like how he was in Rogue One. It was
He
just
was
a
comfy
total
cozy for 2 decades. Comfy
Right.
cozy.
And
a
it's
lot
all
happens.
unraveling.
he's
A
hitting
lot
the
happens
he's
in a
hitting the
span of
panic
3
switch.
days.
Yeah.
Right.
3
So he's
days, a lot
just-
happens.
Losing his mind. But yeah, it's so crazy. But yeah, that scene was just so good, and the improv was awesome too.
Yeah, definitely. So we get a bunch of stuff, and Clea gets into her emergency broadcast, and obviously this is some sort of protocol they put in place, much like Lonnie. She starts doing her thing. It's so crazy to think that they had this safe house for such a long time that there's hidden objects and things inside of the walls in the event that shit goes down. Like, we don't even want to tell our own people that stay here that these items are here, because this is the final contingency plan. This is the final call and whatever. So that's like, again, like thinking of espionage and spying, like, how about thinking 5 steps ahead? But we cut to probably the greatest scene in episode 11 is Frat House starring K2SO, Belshi, and Cass, big Cass. And they're just playing games, and it's just so good. Everything about it's so good.
The way they filmed that was awesome too. How it just continuously went around them, and there was someone who did the math on how long they've actually played this game, and apparently they played it like multiple times a day for like 400 something days, or it was like that's how much they love this game. And I mean, like, it was fun to see like how people do unwind during times like this, and try and take their mind off of stuff and have a distraction. But it was just really fun banter. It was just really cool to just see them during happier times, or at least, de-stress a little bit.
Yeah. And definitely they're living together.
He's trying to droid you.
Yeah. Play. Just play. It's great. It's great. They're just gaslighting K2, and like he could kill him in a second. So yeah, they're great. That's a great scene. Any tops from 11 that stick out to you boys? Anything in particular?
The Krennic and Dedra was mine. That's just, it was just so good.
Yeah.
And just the sheer I'm screwed face that Dedra had was just like perfect. Like I said, like she was a horrible person and you wanted this to happen to her, but like I still kind of felt bad for her.
Yeah.
And when we see her final destination, I mean, like it's kind of crazy because ultimately that is a death sentence. Like Cyril's dead. She is pretty much good as dead until they keep moving her from cell block to cell block to keep building parts and everything else. So that was my favorite by far.
Yeah, that was a nice little bow on her story. Mike, did you have something?
I did love the little cliffhanger where the ISB SWAT team is going to the 27th floor, and then you you see K2 starting to go into the building, and just, are you with us? No, and it's just like Sparta kicks a stormtrooper.
I like that they showed the brutality of him still. Like, I mean, we did see it, like, he choke slams Jin in Rogue One and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Meanwhile,
I
she should have
also
been
just
dead.
kinda-
Let's start there. Anyway,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, based off what we saw, on Gorman, like,
Goodness.
just straight up and down to the
Mhm.
ground should have been some sort of whiplash or something. But
Or is there some sort of, like, with the reprogramming, he's aggressive, but not as aggressive?
yeah. Or
I don't
Jin's
know.
just a boss bitch. That's just what she
I
is.
feel like he's got the personality of a child programmed into him too.
Yeah.
Like, he can't ever stay on the ship. He gets bored. He's just like,
He's kid C3PO because they're both very literal, tell you the odds, but not like he won't give you exact odds. He'll be like, it's about this.
yeah.
And he's like kid 3PO.
But whatever they reprogrammed him with, I love it because his personality is just like so much fun. And
And
Alan
totally
Tudyk just
agree.
Tudyk is
like
perfect.
watching the behind the scenes of him just in that motion capture suit and everything. Like, he's awesome. So
Yeah.
it's just great to get more time with him too.
Love. I mean, I just love the idea. You jumped ahead a little bit, but I love the idea that they had this protocol that, like, I would say Will came into Luthen's. Well, I don't know. I guess I don't know how much. Bix. Let's go back to Bix in season 1. Every time she communicated, right, with Luthen, it was pulse codes.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really make the connection just yet. I'm wondering how much of Willman knew of the protocols back then.
Right.
Because it seemed to really affect him. And he's like, this is not good. This is the final call. This is a problem. Which is why I think, even Cass, and it sounds like, I don't know if you picked up on it, that Cass sort of leaves the Luthen circle for the Rebel Alliance after the rescue of Mon. So when he shows up, Clea goes, it would be you, wouldn't it? Like, that means a little different because he wasn't involved with them for a full year.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back when called on, which is a super interesting connection that I made when I was watching it. I think the theme of Tops for me comes to conversations between people. You've got like Partagaz and Krennic before the extraction mission. They're just going back and forth, and Partagaz is like, save the sermon for Palpatine. I don't want to hear it. Krennic, I can't save you, Leo. And he's like, we'll figure it out. We're just good luck to the best of us. Like, what are we going to do? Let's see what happens. I just love that the idea that he put out of Clea being diseased is backfiring on him because he cannot call in any tactical units right now.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's what a dummy. I love it. It's like, oh man, they just eat each other up, and it's all self-inflicted. It's
it's also like thinking of minds of that, and like you don't want to start a panic over like a rebel attack, so you say this, which causes more of a more of not an outbreak, but a commotion.
Yeah, yeah. They got in their own way, which is just so funny. Oh man. On the tech side of being a nerd, I love that the ISB tech investigator comes in and goes, this is a really cool setup. They've spliced into the antenna. They've been using I was like, yes, this person gets it. They totally understand. And
this scene's for me.
Yeah, this is for me. This guy's talking to me. They called me about this. And here it's like, I don't care. Like, what do we need to do? It's like, shut up here, dummy. That's good stuff. Yeah, K2 doing good stuff. And again, how do you stop watching episode, or how do you not continue after episode 11?
Oh, agreed.
Oh, yeah. I think I stopped doing that for 7, 8, and 9. I was like, I can't not watch. I have to watch. I have to keep going.
Well, that's because 4, 5, and 6 was so like disposition heavy, where like you had to pay attention to everything, but there wasn't a lot of action with everything. Where 7, 8, and 9, it was just only speed is go.
Yep.
And then 10, 11, 12 was a mix of both, but it's like I can't look away from it.
Mm-hmm. And by that point, you've already invested what?
Not disposition, deposition. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm with you. With you. No
For
one's
you know,
checking
we
vocab here.
invested so much time at that point already, and it's the home stretch. So it's like I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep watching.
Did we talk about the amount of hours they've spent on Andor and the amount of hours that are in the main episodic movies? Did we talk about that? Did I talk about you about this or somebody else?
Mm-mm.
Negative.
All right. So I didn't do all the math, but I read that the normal episodics, 1 through 9, is about 20 hours. Andor with Rogue One is about 20 hours. Just in content, which I love because I just feel that, when you get into the nitty gritty of TV, you get to flesh out some things. If the movies were fleshed out with appropriate supplemental TV shows, not Clone Wars, but you know what I'm saying, they probably would have been a little bit more endearing. Now, what is Mando doing? Mando did TV shows and now they're going into a movie. I think this movie's going to be bad. That's a conversation for later, but that's just only because I'm looking through the lens of binoculars that Cass has, used. So that's just it. But I'm just so curious about where, I'm going to be so disappointed with whatever next is coming out. I should just watch Tales and just be disappointed and then refresh my palate. I love that Clea, Clea's little pulse code thing was infiltrated by the tech whiz, and they've recreated the signal to trace it so they could find them. Of course, they went to the wrong floor to start. Makes total sense. We need to feed this out. Episode 12 has something, though, that I'm sure you picked up on because you're smart. You're two smart cookies. The stunner grenade.
Yes.
Okay. You know where I'm going with this? You know that? Did you see read theories on the stunner grenade?
I did not, but I might know where you're going with this.
Okay. So let's recap. Stunner grenade is thrown. Melshi gets knocked back. Andor gets knocked back. Clea gets knocked out. Andor's like half awake. Melshi is like fully awake. And the theories online are saying that's because of Narkina 5, where they were used to getting electrocuted. So the nervous system that they have is way different than like Clea, who probably hasn't experienced something like that. Yeah. Which is why they recovered fast. Well, Andor really didn't recover fast.
And
but Melshi
was there longer.
Correct.
Melshi was there longer.
Correct. So I was like, man, if this was on purpose, that is crazy. But I love it because it tracks with whatever Gilroy's been doing with pulling in these things and these details.
Right.
There's also another part. Again, the beauty of the internet and reading. I do a lot of reading. Turns out, this is the point in time where he loses his hero gun. The stunner grenade hits him, right? And we never see that gun again, because if you look at Rogue One, he doesn't have a gun.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have that gun. But he does have Bix's gun that she was hanging on to. Although, not the same gun at the beginning of Rogue One. Or at the end of episode 12, to what he kills Tivik with. Little discrepancy there. We're going to have to look at that next. We're going to talk about that next week. But I just like, they're weaving this shit in. And so perfectly, and you know how I love my mini connections, and they're doing. So my tops for the 12 is just those little details for me. What about you? What about you, Dames? You got any 12 toppers?
What about K2's meat shield?
Oh,
that was going back to what I was saying about him previously, like, so he still has some of that like brute horrifying capability within him, and to like just snap a dude's neck and then just use the guy as a shield. But also,
just like a...
shame on the other guy for still shooting. Like
oh
I mean,
God.
I guess you got to do what you got to do, but at that point, like, you just saw what happened. Like, you're toast. It's not going to end well for you. But it was So I don't know why I'm cracking
He
up at it, but it was
deserves
just
it because
so-
he's a little bitch too.
right.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh, okay, I can get behind this, and just the fact that he just has him up by one arm and is just moving him around, it was just I was cracking up. I couldn't believe I was watching that, but it was just insanely fun.
Well, I think K2 would have said that was the good tactile decision, not tactile.
Tactical.
That's the one.
Yes.
Thank you.
There you go.
Good tactical decision for sure. Shut up, everybody. Man, they yeah, here it is. I wrote that down to my tops. Is the body shield is a good one. All right, so we get off of Coruscant, right? They do a good job. They do the rescue. They get it done. Clay is not too happy about this, but they're taking her. And now we have these wonderful board meetings, right, where we're talking, and now it's starting to get to the less action and more politicking. And man, are those two senators the biggest wet noodles you've ever seen?
I want to punch them in the face.
Yeah, good
Camlo,
story. Did you verify it? Hey,
Pamlo,
yeah, Pamlo and whatever the other guys is.
and Dickhead.
Fake Dracula loser. Anyway. Like, why would I make a story up like that? It's such a detailed story with lots of information, and then you got to think like ISB does this. They do feed wrong stories,
Mm-hmm.
But I love the line that Andor puts out, and he goes, a year ago. When did I talk to him? A year ago when I rescued her.
Yeah.
That one. You see that one right there? Yeah, that's the one I rescued. Just in case you were wondering.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they constantly forget, like, and Andor has to remind them, none of this would be here if it wasn't for Luthen.
Yeah.
And they still just don't believe. Like, I understand that Luthen's methods are not what they want.
Yeah.
But Andor's right. Like, none of this would be in motion if it wasn't for Luthen.
Yeah.
And Clea, for that matter.
Yeah. How'd we like our Saw scenes here?
Our sologram?
Our sologram. Is this the first hologram we get of the season? I think so, right? Of speaking hologram. Everything else was
Probably.
FaceTime. So
I
Star
didn't-
Wars fans unite.
I didn't mind it, but the one thing that bothered me was he was like looking over Mon.
Mm.
Not like looking down at her, but looking like
Yeah.
over. But that, like, aside from that, like, it was a good, because we haven't really spent a lot of time with him in a bit. So just that reminder that, oh yeah, we're gonna get to spend some time with him real soon.
Yeah.
If you back this up with Rogue One. So yeah, it was okay. I
We know you're on Jeddah.
love it,
No,
didn't
you
hate
don't.
it.
You don't know that. Literally, people have been telling us.
Right.
You've planted those people.
The Empire's after you, not us.
But these little details of like, all right, we're starting to get in Tivik.
All right.
Tivik sent 3 messages from Kafrene. That's Saul's guy. This news is coming in. This news is coming in. Everything's starting to converge. We're starting to feel like the whole Jeddah, the Kyber crystals, Scarif. Everything is really starting to come together. How about the Vel Andor final conversation?
I got chills when they were like toasting their fallen
Samesies.
comrades. Of just like everybody, like Tanemic, and like Andor only mentions like 3,
Gorn.
and it's just like
Yeah.
Cinta.
Yeah.
But like just chills of like, oh yeah, all those people. Yeah.
It just
Our
reminds you
bounties.
you don't have time to grieve in this universe.
Right.
Nope.
Stuff's moving so fast. Yeah, like stuff's about to go down. Like you just don't have time to properly grieve these people. So it was nice that they just did a little cheers and a toast for everyone who had lost their lives so far.
Yeah.
Although they didn't mention Cyril, but then again, no one knew who he was. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
who are you?
Great scene. I start to think this. We start to hear Nemec, and we're like, cool, Nemec's back. Was this being broadcasted globally, or was Partagaz just like listening back and reminiscing? Because they make a statement that's like, you know, I think it's Clay wakes up and like Nemec starts speaking, and then it switches to Partagaz, and you're like, what? And he's listening to the words, and he says to what's his face with the poor haircut, I forget what his name is. He was in the one of the ISP agents. He's the one that was going to take part of it. You know what I'm talking about.
Largent or Legert or
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
He says, have you heard this? And he's like, bits and pieces. And he says, just keeps spreading, doesn't it? I literally think, as part of the final call, they have some sort of broadcast that is just hitting all the airwaves with Nemec's manifesto. So the fire is spreading, regardless of the ISP trying to shut it down.
So did Andor initiate that? Because Nemec gave his like manifesto to Andor.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be part of their propaganda plan, you know, from Yavin. I don't know. It could be in Dedra's files. Maybe they're going through Dedra's file and she had it. It's super interesting, but I like to subscribe that this is being spread through this type of messaging, you know, like everybody getting emergency broadcast on their phone because of flooding, but it's Nemec's manifesto. Could you imagine that? That would be wild.
And then you just see the gun, and Partagaz is like, yep, I'm done.
Well, what is his option? Go to prison at his age? No way. He was done. Donezo. But, I mean, it was still powerful, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just wrote down a lot of different plot points, but all the interactions, you know, Bale just being a dick. Dicky Bale. What are we doing? You're supposed to be a nice guy. I don't understand. But, like, I also get his stance is like, you know, someone's got to be the adult around here. We can't just make rash decisions. Did you feel like Draven went back and forth with being an asshole and then also being the best friend?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you're grounded, and then he's like, I really need you to go see Tivik. He's like, if you don't act now, this is going to be a problem. You know, like, he was a little inconsistent.
It's like that inner turmoil where I want to believe you make, like, and it's similar to what Mon says to Vel, like, make me believe him. Like, get me to believe Andor. Get me to believe Andor. I feel like they're at that point where, like, I feel like they're all scared shitless that they hear about this weapon that's going to be insane. And they're like, shit, let's get, like, I want to be rational, but also this scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So we need to get more details on it. That's how, like, Draven, because you don't get a lot of screenplay from him in Rogue One, right? Like, pretty much same amount.
You get, like, you know, if you're not going to give us any information, girl, we'll put you back where we found you. Great line.
Yeah.
And then, you know, him giving him the secret order to kill Galen or so, which, you know, in retrospect, didn't really have to do that, but I get it. The final thing for me, just in episode 12, is just like the final 4 minutes. You know, probably the best montage ever. And that includes, like, how Revenge of the Sith sort of, like, married the two movies together between that and A New Hope.
You could have played Time of Your Life by Green Day for that last 4 minutes.
I don't believe you.
I want somebody to cut it up. You see Will waking up with the babe.
Yeah.
Then you get Mon and Vel just hanging out having breakfast. You see Perrin sighting.
Yeah.
We were wondering about Perrin with Skolden's boo-boo.
Yeah, he's getting hammered and taking home other people's wives.
Did you hear of the potential scene with Perrin?
I did not.
He wrote a scene that would have had Perrin and Mon have a final conversation. And essentially, Perrin would have been like, Mon, you could have trusted me with this information. I would have been with you on this. And it didn't, make the time cut. But I think we
I
always
would have
like to
liked
believe
that.
that Perrin was
I didn't think it was enough what we
in
got.
with it.
I would have liked that
Yeah.
for sure.
But I feel like
It was so random just to have a Perrin scene. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
if we had a Perrin scene on her rescue, like of him looking at the news, and then maybe that drives him to that final scene, that makes a lot of sense, but we didn't, so I don't know.
But even that cut scene, like for the amount of Perrin screen time, I feel like that scene doesn't make sense because he seemed just like a man about town, like playing both sides kind of thing. Like, especially with how the daughter hates them.
Yeah, I don't know.
The scene, I think the scene would have been impactful, but I don't think it would have made sense.
Yeah, very strange. But it did make sense. Your favorite girl, the Force healer, making that final eye contact, little nod.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we all know what's happening here, right? And he's like, yep, we know.
So did her hairstylist cut Mon's hair?
Yes. Yes. 100%. There's no barbershop. There's no salon.
None.
On there. I wonder why she cut her hair. Very interesting question.
Because you don't know who it is now. Her face does the haircut changes the person. You don't know who it is.
Loved Saul looking over to Jeddah with everything in the background.
Yep.
Loved Krennic overseeing the Death Star. That literal. That's where like Tarkin's going to be in just like 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then
getting his ass chewed out.
Yeah, and then just Andor loading into the ship. And then, did you notice the music change? So you go from
Brr, 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 brr.
That's exactly right. Do it again. The music director, what would you call those? I forget.
Composers?
The composers
The music liaison
said that they wanted to keep the TV stuff, but they wanted to use the scene of him flying away in the ship as a shift to the orchestra. So you get more of a full blend of orchestra music as he, starts going off into that final mission. A little bit of me wanted it to end there. And I would have liked a break and then the epilogue. Something like that. Just like a clean break. Like, we know that's where Rogue One is going to begin, but now we have the aftermath. I still want an aftermath, little mini-sode of what's going on afterwards. But yeah. Any other tops, friends, that you want to talk about before we jump down to our next topic?
Well, how can we not talk about how I don't care. I'll bring it up next week too. How much more heartbreaking Rogue One is now.
Oh yeah. Big time. Big time.
You get
Everything has so
B2
much
and
more
his
context.
droid friend playing on Mineral, and then you see Bix with a kid. I teared up.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of negativity towards this because a lot of people saying oh, you reduced her to just a mother with a baby, and I'm like, I don't know, it's pretty heroic to me.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Because I'm assuming she's going to raise that child to hate the Empire.
Yeah. It's Din Djarin.
It's Poe Dajarin.
Do the math.
It could work. Yeah,
He's 45. I'm just saying.
I think he said he's never gonna I don't think. I think we're just all fan casting and trying to connect dots that aren't there for what Tony Gilroy had said. It would be cool if it's somebody of stature that we know. Yeah. I think that would be really neat, coming from Cassian and then having that be your dad, and then wow, it's awesome you're following in your dad's footsteps even though you didn't know him. But yeah, it would be cool if it was someone. If it doesn't end up being anybody, I'm just happy we got B2. and
Yep.
he's happy and he's playing with another droid and they're BFFs and everything. Because if we
Oh,
didn't
they
get
bone
anything, I just need that
hard.
closure. What?
Those two droids bone hard.
A lot of oil leaks. No, I did enjoy the closure. I think everybody got closed out pretty good. I don't have any complaints about any of it. You know, I think. Well, I know you will be, but we're not there yet. So for me, I think the closeouts are good. Does anyone have anything more positive to say before we turn the dial upside down? All right, good stuff.
Good.
Let's get to our sad beeps then.
I don't want to be alone. I want Mama Marva.
Spoiler alert, B2, you're not alone, so that's cool.
You're not.
All right, Mikey, lead us off, buddy.
So the Pretty Bow ending. I loved every single part of the Pretty Bow ending. But if I'm looking ahead to next week, obviously, and just what we know about Rogue One and the future in Star Wars universe, they didn't really tie up Clea or Will's loose end.
Mhm.
Like, because we never see them again.
Right.
And for as impactful as they were, I would have liked their story to be tied up a little more. Now, me thinking out loud, would I love to see a down the road Clea side like spinoff? Absolutely. But these characters that were so integral to the rebellion, just in general, you never hear from again. And they didn't really tie up that loose end because you never hear the name or see the person again. So that, like, very nitpicky, but still would have liked to seen those two loose ends tied up a little bit better.
That's a fair point. I have we get Dedra. We didn't really talk about Dedra in Narkina 5, by the way. Dedra's scenes and Clea's scenes were intermixed here. And here is my interpretation of that. I think they both are in prison. This is the worst case scenario for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Clea is like her Mona Lisa non-reaction. Not sure if she's excited to be there, but like she was wandering in the forest. By the way, Vel finds her randomly. That's a bottom for me. No thank you. How'd that happen? Little too convenient. I'm not sure if Clea is really thrilled about being in Yavin. You know, I think we'll get some sort of story of how she maybe goes off and does a different thing. Or it would be really cool to see her tied into, like, First Order stuff. She wouldn't be that much older. You know, she'd be... Yeah. I mean, didn't we already theorize that she is in the Rise of Skywalker at the end? Who are you? It's her. I'm telling you. I just think so. So, I can get down. I think with the Wilmon story, like, he was so erratic.
Yeah.
You know, he's getting high as a kite. You know, he's like a bomb expert. He's some sort of... gas strategist person, and then you have
and he's got the limp. He's got the limp now.
He's got the limp. He's basically on, you know, he can't be on active duty, right? He's got the fly as fuck orange vest, which is awesome.
It is fly as fuck.
Right? Great outfit. And then, like, he's just enjoying his time with a lone survivor of Gorman.
Drina.
Radio broadcast Drina. Like, he might just want to stay home. You know, this is the first time he's felt home since his dad, you know? So it's like, I was happy for him. But I can agree with the Clea stuff. But then it's what do you do? Like, I don't know. I can accept it because, you know, we don't see it anymore. I feel like if you don't let interpretation rule and you just tell everybody, then nobody has discussions. We all know.
In my mind, I just assumed that everyone who's in this show that wasn't in Rogue One was just going to die.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, I was surprised that Bix didn't die. Like we thought
Yeah.
that this was going to be the thing to push Andor over the edge, and it kind of was, but not in the death way, in a leave way. And what did he say? What did Vel say? Don't wait too long.
Don't wait too long. Oh, Jesus
God.
Christ. God damn
Do you think Vel knows that there's a baby? I do.
I think so.
Because if she told him, he'd be gone.
Yeah.
Going to meet Rao. See you later. Have a great day. Have a great day. Yeah. Let's see. Bottoms for me. Not much in the radar. I already talked about Bale's loser character. Just like I thought it was a little whatever. And then the Vel and Clea meet up. That's the only really two bottoms that I see in these three fine established episodes. Dames, do you have anything that you did not particularly like?
Yeah, no Dengar. The wait continues until he appears in something Star Wars. But for me, I think we did talk about this a little bit. I was kind of hoping there was going to be some sort of resolution to the sister storyline. But I was reading an article with Tony Gilroy, and he said like he basically thought it was better off for Cassian's story if that was never resolved.
Yeah.
Because loss is kind of what drives him, and his lost sister, not being able to find her, losing Bix, it continues to propel him forward to his greater purpose and what he's going to do in Rogue One. But so I guess it was something they always from the start never planned on resolving, but I would have liked to see something along the lines of a sister. But that's that's nitpicky because like it's really insignificant in the scope of the entire series. But that was just one little thing I had.
Yeah. So speaking of that, he's obviously dreaming. He continues to dream of her, right? All these years later. Did you feel such great connection of being woken up by a child in a deep sleep?
Holy shit.
Oh my God. The way he woke
Humans are weird when they sleep.
No, what did he say? It's always so confusing when you guys wake up or something like that. And like he wakes up and he's in instant kill mode, right? And oh my God, let me tell you, Annie woke me up, right? And I like, what up, Ann? And she's like, I just want to let you know that my hand is itchy. Thanks. Thank you for telling me that. I'm going to need you to go back to bed now, though, if that's okay. But like you're just in this weird sleep and then you're not. And it's so annoying. And I just felt like that was such a real moment of time.
Yep. I had that this weekend. Dad, can I have juice? What? You know where it is. You can get it. You can have whatever you want. It's fine. Just let me sleep a little bit more.
Before the recording here, Annie, everybody's in bed. She comes down and she's like, my throat is dry. I went, did you walk past the kitchen to come downstairs to tell me that? Go get a cup. What are we doing?
Right.
Tommy every now and then will come out of his room, and the way I sleep is I'm close.
Does he helicopter?
He helicopters. The way I sleep is my face is usually out towards the door, and I'm the first one at the door.
Yeah.
And he'll just go right into my face. He goes, Dad, is it morning? Like, do you see the fucking sun?
Look out the window. What are you doing? Anyways, this is all connects back to K2SO's amazing personality at being really awkward as a robot, which is just wonderful, wonderful. I don't have any more bottoms, so I would like to move on to Scrappy Naps.
Little nitpicky thing.
Good nitpick.
Flashback, Luthen's young Biff hair.
Love it. I actually liked the de-aging.
De-aging did look kind of good, yeah.
But like the hair part looked terrible. The de-aging looked good. The hair part looked terrible. Like we're going to give him an early 2000s Biff and just spike the front of his hair up.
He looked like the grandpa from The Simpsons, like his hairstyle.
Yes. That's nitpicky. I'm like,
that's fine. That's fair. All right. Let's get into some of the smaller, finer details as we Scrap it up, I suppose.
I wake up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago for which there's only one conclusion. I'm damned for what I do.
We're going to work backwards in episode 12. Theories out there stating that the roommate that Dedra has, quite possibly Naya from episode 1. The Thai technician. Very hard to see. Took a screen cap. Naya had a very particular body type. Trying to analyze if we have the same body type. Also, years later, if they're in Narkina for a while, I imagine not the same body type based off of proteins, deficiencies, and whatever. But what a cool little thing if that was real. So again, love the theories that people come up with online. Let's see, little scrappy daps here coming up there. We talked about the hero weapon. Interesting one here. Ewing going off the extraction, no flight plan. B2 is like, do you hear this guy? He's saying that we can't take off and we're disobeying orders. This is the 17th time he's contacted us. That's Tony Gilroy's voice. Also in Rogue One.
Huh.
So if you remember, he's like, Rogue One? We don't have a Rogue One. That's Tony Gilroy's voice. Or it's one of the Gilroys. I'm assuming it's Tony.
Gareth Edwards directed it, though, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but Gilroys were brought in for writing.
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was that reminded me of like the Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill doing the voice at Yavin. He does that, so that's cool. Naboo, of course. Lovely.
Obviously.
And then my final ones, because I don't want to take them all. Star Wars confirmed has bubble tea on Naboo, for sure. 100%. Laser to you, Poe.
So I talked about the Scatgran a little bit earlier, but it is from what I understand canon that like ET species is in Star Wars.
I agree.
And this was one of those species from what I read. Because obviously it just looked like a super old dehydrated ET. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then also I watched all the way through hoping for some sort of post-credit scene, and the music changes to John Williams' score about like halfway through. That was pretty much the only things I noticed. But I did like that little touch because we're just getting right into it now. Like we're at Rogue One. So
yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Agreed. Mikey?
One thing I noticed throughout, this isn't news, but I love how they did. Every episode was kind of a meaningful quote. The title was a meaningful quote in the episode. I just loved how they did that. Like from "Who are you?" to what we have, "Who else knows?" to "Make it stop." Like it was almost like a throwaway line in the episode, but it made it more meaningful.
I totes thought we were getting Jin or so in the 12 because I loaded it up on the computer and I saw all the descriptions right off the bit and I was like, "Fuck me, god damn it!"
Yeah,
and
when
I
I saw
put
her
the connection of Galen that it could also have been Galen, so I was disappointed in myself. But yeah, good point on the titles.
I love the one quote from Krennic to Petrogras. "You sound like Tarkin." I love what, because it's just always Tarkin coming down on Krennic in Rogue One, and it was just great. A great little foreshadowing. And it could be a bottom, but not as much. When Clea is like across the way in the hospital and you look at the stormtroopers, it just reminded me of like an NPC in a game where you're trying to be sneaky, where they're just like looking around, but they don't notice someone right across the way. It looks like they're
through the glass.
Yeah, like They're just looking all around, but looking straight ahead. They can't find the person, and you're safe. It just was very video game-ish to me.
Fair.
Be the best
Gold-
of the best too, which just
GoldenEye.
adds to the lore of how horrible they actually are.
Yeah.
Between missing shots and just being
Oh, yeah.
totally clueless.
Love that.
I like the Admiral Radis
Oh yeah,
appearance too.
Radish was good. Original voice actor too, I believe. I think they had to make his costume though because, they threw that shit out. I think. I've got two that connect back. One to Ahsoka and one to the High Republic. How's that sound?
Great.
One to Ahsoka. In the gallery of Luthen,
Mhm.
we have a fist and a high fiver, and that directly correlates to the Mortis arc, which debuted in Clone Wars and in Rebels, and now Ahsoka. Right at the end of, you remember at the end of season 1 with Balin is on the hand. At the end, that's a big arc of mystics, and there's a stone tablet that has the fist and the hand, and that is a direct connection to, I think, Filoni Baloney had his dirty old fingers in this episode, putting in some Easter eggs there. And then, again, not my thing, but when we get the first view of the hospital, there's a symbol in the middle, and then some Arabesh, and you have Lena So Medical Hospital, basically. In the High Republic, Lena So was the chancellor who basically endeavored to do these great works to make the galaxy better, make the High Republic better. So, mission 1 was better communication. So they created Starlight Beacon, which was basically a giant antenna that reached the outer rim.
Mhm.
It also created a lot of issues with villains. And then obviously she did some kind of medical stuff and all sorts of different things. So that's a deep cut to High Republic fans that obviously you wouldn't know that. But yeah, Lena So is all over the books that I read. So I thought that was a very cool little nod. We got a back to tank. Full immersive back to tank. Thought that was cool. How about, and shout out to every actor who has died in this series, they fall hard down steps every single time. I can't believe it. It's crazy to me that they get hit and they just go. They just allow themselves to do their thing. So that's awesome. And that's about it for me in the scrap department. Any other scraps, friends?
No scraps.
Nope.
Okay, I do have some questions, so why don't we load up the analysis?
Do you really think the rebels care about the lines we draw on maps? Systems either change or die.
Why is Yavin always under construction? What is going? Everything needs maintenance. There's just sparks flying. I get it. We're supposed to be immersed, but do these guys take breaks? What's going on here? I was just cracking myself up by asking this question. The second question I have, what the hell happened on Aldhani? After they toast to the Donnies, right? What happened to them? Were they all killed off? Was there any resolution there? I couldn't think of anything after. I mean, obviously the Empire probably sent an Imperial Star Destroyer there.
Mhm.
And they probably did an orbital bombardment and said, we don't need this place anymore. Bad place. It's unsecure. I bet you they raised the planet. Who knows? I don't know. We already talked about Vel, and we already talked about the manifesto, so I don't have any more questions about that. But, what do you think happens next?
Was Dedra actually working on the second Death Star, and they were just making a second one?
Great question. Either
They were
that or
they were just making more Death Stars.
I think shortly after they figured out the Death Star, they started manufacturing more.
Agreed.
Now I remember there's math to state that there's it would take $841 million to produce it. and then to produce a bigger one, because it wasn't Death Star 2 a bit bigger.
Yeah.
But clearly they started with the super weapon and didn't do that last. So they sort of fixed the error of their ways. But imagine banking your entire fear plan on a singular battle station and it goes to shit in just a couple hours. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Any other analysis, friends? We're hitting that time. I can tell the energy is low. The thoughts are ending quickly.
Nah, I don't got anything else.
All right. Hey, listen, it's when you don't have a lot to, we talked a lot about it because
Predictions?
a lot of our shit fell into tops. I don't think Andor's going to survive Rogue One if I had to take a guess. Damn. Can't wait to I can't wait to talk about Rogue One next week. This is going to be a good episode for sure.
I've watched it twice since
Yeah.
10, 11, and 12 because I just wanted to see what other things I picked up on, nuances, like because it was all done to just enhance the experience of that movie. Well, not just to enhance the experience, but it does. I can't wait to talk about it.
Okay. For the theatrical release, is it 10, 11, 12 Rogue One, or will they just do 11, 12?
Ooh.
Rogue One's a what 12 like 2:15, right?
Easy 2:15,
Yeah. It's a quick 2:15 though. It
Very
flies.
quick 2:15.
Non-stop.
And like 11 and 12 is about an hour ish. So like that's
my
a 3-hour
understanding was I thought they
experience.
were going to do all of it.
Like
But if they did season
one,
season 2.
that's a lot of Star Wars.
So I did back in the day, they did this for The Hobbit. They did all three, the first two, midnight, third movie, boom. Same thing for Dark Knight. Batman Begins, Dark Knight, boom, Dark Knight Rises at midnight. And if they started it at like 10 in the morning, I'd be happy because like those ones, I was falling asleep during the movie that I paid to see for the first time because it was just a marathon. It was, you know, a 2-hour something movie, 2-hour something movie. If they did do that with Andor, I mean, you'd have to start it at 10 o'clock and like we wouldn't be finishing up Rogue One until like what 6 at night almost.
Yeah,
Like
I did the double feature of Force Awakens into The Last Jedi because of like the cliffhanger. I mean, it was awesome because it was just one movie into the next. They gave you like a half-hour break. It was great. And then just completely walked out of that theater going, what the fuck did I just watch? I don't even understand what's going on here. But all right, it's cool, I guess. Anyways, sounds like we're coming to a close, friends. I don't think we need to do a vibe check. I think the vibes are clear.
the vibes are immaculate.
Best Star Wars show, hands down. It's going to be very difficult to ever produce this level of hype. I think we've closed the book on the rebellion. I don't think there's much you can do to enhance it.
Just from like story, cinematography, like not props, but like
Set design.
so there you go. Set this like
They were very smart with their set design because they would reuse the sets
Yep.
in a way that wasn't too obvious, but they would wrap around to the same set and they would weave in and out. Like the gallery was the set, and the square of Coruscant was a set. The safe house was a set. Yavin was a set. You know, everything about it was they did a really. I mean, they went back to Mina Rao, you know, for a moment in time. So that was great, and it all felt familiar and comforting.
and the fact that there was zero fan service, none. There was none.
I don't think so.
There was absolutely zero. Like, because even I particularly was like, I wouldn't mind seeing like a Palpatine cameo here. Didn't do it because they didn't need it. They didn't need any of that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was good stuff.
Which made it that much better because you didn't need any of the main Star Wars people. Mentions, yeah, absolutely. Mention them all you want, but don't fucking need you. Get out.
Well, it's a consensus. We've got nothing bad to say. We've got nothing but good to say. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen with us most of the time.
Nope.
What's the next Star Wars show coming out? It's The Mandalorian, right?
Well, the movie. It's
the
a
movie. I
next,
think
right?
the movie's the next thing.
I don't think there's any TV show slated as of right now.
Are they
Ahsoka
still making
season
Lando? Yeah, maybe that.
2. Ahsoka season 2, but I think that's in filming. The filming in production right now, so we're not even close.
Lando? Are they doing Lando?
Lando,
still?
I don't know if Lando's going to be a thing. I
thought they were going back. I thought Childish Gambino's writing it right now.
Yeah, I heard
is that a
he's.
thing? Okay.
Yeah, I heard he's going to be writing it.
All right,
But it's
well,
going
we're
to be both him and Billy D. I think it's going to be Billy D with flashbacks with
So, something cool
Donald
that
Glover.
Lando does in one of the books I read is that he kept journals and he would tell stories. So it was funny because it's literally old Lando, and he would be like, "Oh, I remember that time. Hold on, let me pull up the tape." And like he brings the tape, and then the chapter beams into young Lando and his adventure. So I bet you they're going to do something like that. That would be pretty cool.
And knowing Donald Glover, I think he'd be all over that too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If he
Like,
has
he-
creative
he-
control of it, he'll
Yeah.
do a good job.
And he's, comic book, like Star Wars, Marvel nerd. He would absolutely dive deep into those books and like write his screenplay
Yeah.
based on that, which I can get into that.
Mhm.
For sure. For sure. And maybe it will happen. So here's what we can tell you, friends. We're going to keep our ear to the ground for any of the new Star Wars shows. Make sure you follow us on the socials. We're a good time. We'll keep it real and all that good stuff. Thanks to the boys for doing this for 4 weeks. We brought us out of retirement. We do this at night. Night's a good time. Tommy wakes up. He doesn't know it's night. He thinks it's sunshine. But for us, it's nighttime. It's discussion time, right? We were essentially kid-free during this, which is a wonderful thing. You might have wondered why there was a 2-year gap. That's because my son is 2 years old. Congrats to me. We're back, baby. 9 p.m. We're in the clear. We can do things again. It's going to be a wonderful time. So hopefully we get some more Star Wars out of you. But we're going to be back next week one more time. We're going to go over Rogue One. We're going to talk about all the connections, all the differences, all the loveliness. And who knows? Maybe they'll survive this one. You just never know. You'll have to check back later. Tune in, as they would say in the TV business. And we'll see you next time. Any final words, Dame?
I'm good to go.
Good to go. Mikey?
I have friends everywhere.
That's right. I thought your thing said for the whole time, I want to go down swimming. It's so small on my screen, but it says, I want to go down swinging. And this is the final call. This was Andor Season 2 on Extra Star Wars. We'll see you next time.